Hello everyone! In this lesson we're going to install something called Composer onto our computer. Now I want to let you know this video is just for Windows users. If your computer is a Mac, you can safely skip ahead to the next video. Cool. Now before we install Composer on our Windows computer, let's ask ourselves, what in the world is Composer? So let's start at the official Composer website. It's getcomposer.org. If you just Google for Composer or PHP Composer, you should be able to find this website. So what in the world is Composer? Well, we see on their official website, it is a dependency manager for PHP. But what in the world does that mean? What is a dependency manager? I like to think of it as a grocery store for pre-written code that other people have shared with the world. So in other words, imagine if you're building a website or application, there might be, 5, 10, or 20 different libraries that you want to use. And if you rewind in time 10 or 15 years ago, you would have to visit each individual website to download the library files. But in today's world, in modern web development, it's nice to just have one centrally located place where you can pull in all of your dependencies. Everything you would need, right? Every ingredient from the grocery store that you could possibly need for a project. If you've ever used Node.js, then you know that Node has something called npm to install and pull in all the packages that you could ever need. Well, just like Node has npm, PHP has Composer. In other words, you and I don't need to reinvent the wheel, writing a lot of PHP code that does really basic, boring things. Super intelligent people have already written and publicly shared that code with the world. So the idea is, instead of reinventing the wheel constantly over and over and over again, we can use Composer to quickly and efficiently pull in little bits of pre-written code that we might need. So enough talking, how do we go ahead and get Composer installed onto our computer? Well, from the official website, let's just click on this link that says download. Cool, so when I click on download on this new page, we see this first paragraph. It says Windows Installer. And then in this second sentence or paragraph, we see this link to composersetup.exe. So I want you to go ahead and click on that. Go ahead and download that file. It should be a super small file. And then if you go into your computer's downloads folder, so here it is, Composer Setup. It's under 2 megabytes. Just go ahead and double click it. I'm going to choose this option, Install for all users. That is the recommended option, so let me click that. Go ahead and click yes, give it permission. And I'm not going to make any customizations or changes. I'm just going to accept the default installation. So I'll click Next. And yes, that is indeed the path to my PHP executable. So yes, Next. I don't need to use a proxy, so again, just the default option. Click Next. Click Install. And this screen's just giving us a bit of info, but I do want to make you aware of something that can save you a ton of frustration, and that is that you might just need to simply restart your computer in order to have Composer working perfectly every single time. In other words, I've installed Composer on several different Windows computers, and sometimes when you open a command prompt, Composer will work, other times it doesn't. It seems very random. However, as soon as you restart your computer, then it will work 100% perfectly successful every single time. And that's just sort of what this screen is warning you about. So you can go ahead and click Next, and then click Finish. Great. Now we could probably try to start, making sure that Composer was installed successfully right now. However, I've seen in my experience on Windows that can be hit or miss. So what I recommend right now is you take a minute to just restart your computer. So I'm going to do that right now. Alright, so off camera, I just restarted this computer. Now let's make sure that Composer was installed successfully. So from the Start menu, I'm just going to open up my Windows terminal. So just the terminal app. And if you just run a command of Composer, you don't even need a space and dash version. Just literally the word Composer, lowercase like this. Press Enter. Cool, and you should see, you'll know that it was successfully installed if you see a bunch of output. And if you scroll up, you'll see this cool Composer, text art that looks something like this. If you see this, congratulations. That means you have Composer successfully installed. And just to be double sure or triple sure that you've successfully installed it globally, sometimes what I like to do is open up VS Code. And here you can see I've opened VS Code so that it's opened this entire PHP experiments folder that's on my desktop. If I press Control J, it opens up the terminal pointing to that folder, right? PHP experiments on my desktop. And I just want to make sure that I can run Composer globally. So can I run it from this folder? If I just type Composer, press Enter, cool. Let me scroll up. You can see that that worked successfully. So what in the world does this mean? What is the point of running the Composer command? Well, don't worry. Just running the word Composer like this doesn't do anything. This is just to prove that we installed it onto our computer successfully. So where do we go from here? In the next video, I'm going to show Mac users how to install Composer, but then in the next true lesson after that, I want to show you what Composer is used for. So we'll actually use Composer to download and install a test package. Just a super quick experiment to see Composer live and running and doing what it's supposed to do. And then after that, once we have a general idea of what Composer is used for, I want to show you, and this is where everything comes full circle, how to use Composer to create a brand new Laravel project. Right? And at that point, we will really get into the true heart of this course. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. So let's keep our momentum rolling, and I will see you in the next lesson.